Hey everyone, it's Dr. Rick, founder of Herbal411.com. Today we're going to go through something called 5x5s. There's many different ways to get into resistance exercise. And yes, you really should be doing resistance exercise, whether you're a cyclist, a runner, a rower, or a couch potato, or just a hiker. That's why I'm dressed like this. I lead people on hikes. And FYI, I'll be running a hike to Mount Whitney, up to 14,000 feet, the highest point on the continental US, and it'll be cool. You're going to have to carry a backpack, you're going to have endurance. And I think it's always nice to cross-train. Bottom line is that no matter what entry point you have to this thing called resistance exercise, it's important to try to adopt it. Having as much experience as possible going into disease or age would be important. Certainly you can develop an exercise routine, a nutrition practice, a spiritual practice when you get to the point of damage. But at that point in time, if the cancer, the stroke, the heart attack, or the cognitive decline has already happened, it might be a little tough to start and catch up as you're older, which is why it's really important if you start earlier on the timeline as far as healthy lifestyle. It'll be much easier to transition into your older years without having to worry about a catastrophe. Some of you are less than 30 years old and you're probably thinking, why do I have to worry about a catastrophe? Well, usually the catastrophe will happen when you're 50, 60, or 70 years of age, when disease starts to manifest. But the irony is nobody prepares for the catastrophe. And that's why it's really important when you're younger to start to implement lifestyle changes slowly, but in your control. And going back to exercise, everybody has a different form. Cardiovascular, resistance, isometric. But with regards to resistance, some of you are lost as far as which things to do. I think there's two concepts. One is periodization, which you change up your plan every couple of months, depending on your goals for that block of time. If you're not sure how to vary your goals or to change up your exercise, then you should hire somebody, like a physician who's trained in sports medicine and lifestyle change, or a personal trainer. I am available if you need me as a physician and your coach. Just have to sign up down below. But let's get into it. So the easiest way to describe 5x5s are that you have to do 5 repetitions, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in one set, and you'd repeat that for 5 sets. And that's pretty much it. A lot of you will think, am I going to get anything out of just doing 5 repetitions? And you will, because it's based on the fact that you go to the point of fatigue or exhaustion by the 5th repetition. So that by the time you're finished 5 sets of this, you'll have nerve training and muscle stimulation that'll get you to your goal. So of the 5x5, there happens to be 5 different exercises that I like. And most of them are powerlifting movements, but don't be intimidated. You don't have to be a powerlifter. You don't have to go to a gym. I just built this rack on my own, and I bought these Olympic plates during the pandemic when they were a ripoff. But now I can exercise at home if I'm running behind or if I don't have the time. So there's no excuses for me. The 5 exercises that I'll talk about will be squats, deadlifts, overhead press, bench press, and rows. Let's do the squat. So I'll show you a couple different ways to apply, whether I do Olympic weights or other options. This will be the squat. So typically you want to get behind the long bar. What's more important here is the movement, so we're going to go through that. In a squat, you'll always hear, never have your knees in front of your toes. Squat, you want to look up, find a focus point, and then go down into a squat as you exhale. You get to where the legs, the hamstrings, are parallel to the ground, and you come back up. So these are called compound movements, where you move a lot of different muscle regions at the same time. You have to tighten up your core. You have to definitely use your legs. And you have to still keep the upper back tense. For those of you just starting out, you can also buy a weight vest or some form of weight, hold it up, and then perform the squatting maneuver again, which goes parallel to the ground and then up again. Trying to keep the knees behind the toes so you don't overstrain the patellofemoral joint. And you do 5. You can also do a kettlebell for those of you who are just beginning. Don't be embarrassed. But you do have to give yourself some kind of strain. Otherwise, the muscles won't be signaled to grow and they won't have that challenge to overcome the next time. Now let's perform the deadlift. The deadlift is almost the same movement as the squat, but you're focusing mostly on hamstrings and back. Typically, if you're going to use a bar, I go right up to the bar where the shins are about an inch in front of the bar. Definitely pick a point of focus or a drishti that looks higher than the horizon. And you go down, grab the bar, and then come back up. Using mostly leg, but you definitely have to be throwing your shoulders back at the top of the movement. And again, with this movement, You don't have to use a barbell. This is a sandbag of mine. I can do the same maneuver with a 40-pound resistance weight. Or the kettlebell or dumbbell approach, same thing. This will be overhead pressing, which you have to be careful because those of you who don't have great shoulders, you can hurt yourself. But all you want to do with overhead pressing is keep your back straight, get to the point where you lift the bar overhead, elbows fully extended. And for variety, you can do these with dumbbells or kettlebells. Same position, back stays stiff and tight, and then you go to the point of rest, and you go to the point of peak. But the objective here is to control the torso, mostly the scapula and the shoulders. Finally, there's the bench press, which pretty self-explanatory, and you can probably substitute push-ups for this movement. Flat back. I'm going to show you the movement, and then we'll go through with dumbbells and kettlebells. All you want to do is bring it down into your chest, push back up. Push as you exhale, inhale going down. As far as whether you bounce the weight off of your chest, I don't suggest that. And again, the kettlebell version of bench press. I think the best form is to go with your elbows far apart so they're splaying out. Now we're going to do something called bent over rows, which specifically help the upper torso, which can be done with a barbell, two hands at the same time, or one-armed rows. You can use a belt if you want to. Back is supposed to be flat to the ground. And then you take the weight and bring it to your abdomen. And you can do this with dumbbells or barbells, but they have to be one arm at a time. I usually get down into a two-point stance and lift so my back will flatten and straighten as I hit the peak of the movement. So some people will bring it up to their chest. Some people will keep it down and bring it to their waist. Bottom line is you want to be bringing the shoulder back at the peak of your movement. This is the peak, this is the trough. Those are the 5 exercises for the 5x5. And you can vary what you do. Typically, I'll do 3 different movements per day, and I'll be in the gym applying this 3 days a week at least. If you're just starting out, you can do everything that I just showed you per week. But again, it has to be to failure, and I'll probably have to do another video on what that means. I challenge you with a 3-month window of doing 5x5s. At least twice a week, and it'll probably take you 30 minutes. But if you maintain that for 3 months, then you can transition into the next plan of attack as far as fine-tuning your health. These movements will not get you bulky, but always plan on getting stronger and healthier with more endurance, and you might have to challenge yourself with more weights. As far as buying stuff, you can do things old school. I just want you to be measuring that increase and expecting when to throw more challenge to your muscles and your body. If you don't challenge, nothing grows. So thanks for watching up to this point in time. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share this with other people who are on their journey to longevity. See you at the next video.